Grassroots Ranch is a diversified ranch that's focused on producing livestock in a way that mimics nature, and it benefits the land, benefits the animals, but most importantly, we're doing it to provide the highest quality and most nutritious meat for our customers. So Grassroots Ranch is located in Porter, Oklahoma, which is in the heart of the Great Plains, which is a very unique area where the pastures, the soils, the environment all comes together to form a perfect place for large ruminant animals. And that's why we had, for thousands of years, bison grazing through the prairies and antelope and everything like that. And so now we're taking that and we're using our cattle to mimic and do the same thing that the bison did for thousands of years and move them across these pastures. And it's really the perfect environment to create and raise grass-fed beef. The main difference of how we raise our animals here on the ranch is we prioritize working with nature, not against it. And that means making sure that all of our animals have access to forage for the entirety of their life. And that's significant because it creates much more nutrient-dense meat, much more flavorful fat in that meat, and really a much richer experience in the taste and texture. So this is our pasture chicken operation, where we have them out in these open floor hoop houses, and we move them every day to a whole new section so they continue to get fresh grass each morning. So the main difference for our chicken over conventional chicken is giving them access to greens like grass and forbs and things like that in the same way that people eat salads. And the biggest impact that has is on the nutritional value of the meat, but also on the fat, and really just changing the texture and the color, where it's not that white kind of gristly blubbery fat, but it's a nice yellow, firm, really flavorful, rich fat. So we're down here in our pecan orchard where we raise our forested pork. The goal is we want to mimic nature here. We are trying to mimic basically where you'd find wild pigs and giving them access to what they naturally do best, and that's rooting up to pull up fallen nuts, roots, bugs, anything else they can find and forage from the forest floor. So we give them full access to the grass and the nuts that come from the trees. We also supplement them with GMO-free feed, so they get a balanced diet and continue to grow well and meet all of their nutritional needs. Raising them out here in the open air, in the sun, we have very little issue with disease or anything like that, so we never have to use antibiotics or hormones on our pigs. So out of everything we raise, I think the biggest difference in what we graze versus commercial stuff is our pork, and the difference in the flavor and the quality of the meat. Years ago, it was an industry standard to actually grade pork in the same way that we grade beef, and it was based off of the texture of the fat. You'd have really firm fat, which was high-grade pork, and really soft fat, which was low-grade pork. And that high-grade pork only came from animals that were given a diverse diet of foods other than high-energy grain diets. So we consistently produce high-quality pork with really high-quality fat. So we are now out in one of our native pastures where we raise our grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And we do that specifically through intensive rotational grazing, which means we put them in a small area for about a day at a time and give them full access to all the forage there, and then move them on to the next area, mimicking what bison did across the plains and moving through large herds and trampling and grazing down the pastures and allowing plenty of time for that pasture to rest afterwards. So the main difference for our beef is that we do grass-fed and finished, so it stays on pasture from start to finish. Most operations, cattle will start on grass, but eventually they go to some sort of confinement operation where they're finished out on grain. But ours, from start to finish, just get grass, that's it. So we never have to give them antibiotics or hormones. So at the ranch, we also use prescribed fire as another regenerative practice to restore the native grasses in our fields. And that's done in a way that mimics nature in the fires that would go through the native prairies after the bison came through and grazed. And so we do that in addition to our rotational grazing to also clean up the pastures maintain them, and create new, fresh, palatable forages for the cattle the next time they come through. At Grassroots Ranch, our mission is to see the fullness of life manifest in every foot of soil, every animal that walks on it, every steward that cares for it, and every customer that feasts from it. If you'd like to partner with us in that mission, join us at grassrootsranch.com.